उसमें नहीं एकदम आगे ये ना मैं बात नहीं कर सकती नहीं जिंदगी में कुछ हो जाएगा नहीं कुछ नहीं होने वाला है मैं बिजनेस खोल दूंगी
maybe you are getting married now
what
now you make is the bride
also I want next month and then you may initiate the kissing of the bride what you're absolutely so करेंगे तो सेंस बनाएगा सुबह कब था कि मैरिज हो गया 10 मिनट का
और या परी नहीं है
परी नहीं है Yeah, that's what I said. That's it, buddy.
मुझे जिसको पता है क्या परी किसी में परी होती है
पता है
अरे लाइव है लाइव देखा
आपने ये देखा
ये बोल दिया ये परी पहला था मेरा नाम मत लगा
नीलेश
मेरे को
नीलेश बोले सिर्फ नीलेश
मैं नीलेश हूँ इसका मतलब
मुझे किसी का नाम
मेरा
नहीं that's Veda that's Veda no that's all of them I don't know Nilesh was Nilesh said problem अरे जैसे से दृश्य walk
तेरा
अबे मैं
Very sorry. भाई धीरे बोल लो बाकी सब उधर दिख
ब्रेक क्यों चाहिए था? बोलते क्लास में बैठना था। हम मस्त तो क्लास में बैठी थी। Okay, now we are going to start with nutrition in animals. We are going to talk about now first is nutrition in animals. We talk about nutrition in amoeba. Features of nutrition in amoeba. What type of nutrition? Amoeba always shows holozoic nutrition. Characteristics of holozoic nutrition. Just before the break, I was asking you, what are the two features of organisms which show holozoic nutrition? For an organism to show holozoic nutrition, they should be able to feed on parts, pieces of food, or the whole food. Parts, pieces of food, or the whole food. And number two, the process of digestion has to be inside the body of that organism. Now, this amoeba that I am talking about is a single-celled organism Now this single cell organism will show a process known as intracellular digestion. It will always show a process of intracellular digestion. Intra meaning within the cell, because it's a single cell organism that we understand. Is it the same when I talk about we also as holozoic? No, for us the process of digestion is not inside the cell, but it is between the cells inside the organism's body in certain spaces of our body. So for us, of course, we cannot use the word intracellular. For us, it may be intercellular, and within the different type of body or inside different body organs, that is okay. But human does not show intracellular, remember. How do we understand the process of digestion in amoeba? Now I talk about a single cell organism like this. This amoeba, as it comes in contact with food particles, what type of food particles amoeba may generally feed on? Fine fragments of microscopic organisms known as the planktons. Or it may also feed on few liquid molecules also. So these are the typical food substances that we can understand that amoeba feeds on. Now, this amoeba, as it comes in contact with the food particles, what would be the change? The change would be that these food particles has to be now taken in. So this amoeba would generally start showing some extensions of its membrane. Will start showing some extensions of its membrane like this. So the nucleus is not generally showing any change, but then the membrane, the body wall changes, resulting in some extended foot-like structure, what is known as pseudopodia. Pseudopodia is nothing but an extension of the cell membrane and the body wall. This will be followed by the amoeba taking in the food now inside the body and resulting it in the formation of a vacuole, and this is what is known as the food vacuole that they form. But how would the process of digestion happen? The process of digestion would happen because this amoeba also has got some digestive enzymes inside, and this would be the lysosome, the organelle that we understand, which carry some digestive enzymes inside, So this lysosome and the food vacuole would generally come closer. The lysosome and the food vacuole will generally come closer now, bringing about the process of digestion. So here is the food vacuole that I understand, and then the lysosome. So they will come together, the food and the enzymes, and the process of intracellular digestion happening. Followed by the process of assimilation. Then next is what? This amoeba that we understand, this amoeba after the process of digestion of the nutrients, now the digestion of the digested nutrients gets distributed all over the body. What is this process known as? This process is known as assimilation. Then this will be followed by a process where the waste substances gets gathered, and all these waste substances would be released out of the body. The waste substances are all released out of the body. No nuclear changes, remember, takes place at this process. What is this known as? This is known as exocytosis. What is this process known as? I can say that this process is known as endocytosis. So what is the process of digestion that it shows? The process of digestion that it shows is phagocytosis, which includes endocytosis as well as exocytosis. So this is the entire process of nutrition that the amoeba would show. A sequence of stages where we are talking about right from the time of ingestion. What is the process of taking in of the food? The process of taking in of the food is ingestion. Now that the breaking down happening, we would say this is digestion. After the process of digestion, the distribution is what is known as assimilation. And then the release of the waste substances, excretion. So all these will be summarized together. And if the method is something like this, where the breakdown and the digestion is happening inside one single cell or inside the cell, what is the process you are mentioning? Name the mode of nutrition in amoeba. Mode, holozoic. Name the process by which amoeba takes in and digests food. Process is phagocytosis. Clear? And phagocytosis would always include these two steps. Now, we compare with the concept. Now, this diagram you have in your textbook, in your volume also, but that is a shorter diagram. That is not an elaborate diagram that I am drawing here. I'll give you 2 minutes to draw this diagram with all these proper labels here. Draw a proper label diagram. Sometimes explain phagocytosis. Explain the process of phagocytosis with well-labeled diagrams only. You are not asked to explain anything in words or sentences. Only draw well-labeled diagram. Pencil diagrams only in 2 minutes time. Pass. Done? Spellings, check. These are terms, of course, you've already come across earlier. Also, none of these terms that I'm speaking is absolutely new for you. New for you? Are these terms new absolutely?
No.
No. So see that you are not making any mistakes in writing down the spellings. Make it fast. You. Done? Neat. Become. Scary diagram मत draw करो ना. क्यों? आर्टिस्ट हो. पेन से क्यों? पेंसिल से फटाफट 2 मिनट में करके दिखा. Pencil से neat label diagram with a pencil. In biology, picking up now biology 10 CBSE syllabus is very simple. Only that you have to start understanding certain concepts. Picking up full marks not a big problem at all. कौन सा? Plankton. Plankton. Organisms. Organisms. Plankton can be of plant type, phytoplanktons, or animal type, zooplankton, microscopic organisms in the water. School till where they have finished?
This chapter is done.
Life process is done. Ryan में ना? Ryan में हो गया? Expression तक हो गया? My work is half done, so you all know it all. And this side?
In all the classes.
We just started.
We just started.
Photosynthesis
is going on.
It's going on. Yeah, it's on.
Are you able to respond in the class well?
Yes.
क्यों हंस रहे हो? हाँ? Respond in the class well मैंने पूछा. क्यों हंसी why? नहीं? Not able to respond well? Let me also laugh. What is the reason? Tell me. ऐसे रीजन है तुम लोग जो तुम लोग किसी के साथ शेयर भी तो नहीं कर सकते. हाँ पेरेंट्स ना टीचर्स. रीजन ही ऐसे क्लियर रहते हैं तुम लोग है ना ऋतिका. ऋतिका 2 minutes.
मैं रुक जाऊंगा.
सीटोपोडिया स्ट्रक्चर है, एंडोसाइटोसिस होगा प्रोसेस. Any test, anything this month? Or no, in June?
28.
April? April, what portion?
That portion is not yet.
क्या हो गया?
Now expected of review.
क्या? तो क्या हो गया? Now, which portion, what portion? Keep intimating about your portion for the test also. See that we are done with the portion here. Done now, all of you done now?
Last.
Now, this diagram, why I ask you to draw also is quite a number of times. That sequence of diagram that you have in your book, you tally with this also. Quite a number of times, certain diagrams will be there in your question paper and you have to mark them in a proper sequence. Know which after which you have to mark them. Maybe now the diagrams are 1, 2, 3, 4. Mark them in a proper sequence. Maybe 1 comes first, then 4 comes, then 3 comes, then 2 comes. So you should know what the process is. Ingestion is which one, digestion is which one. And then excretion, assimilation is which one. But again, I told you that this diagram which is there is not exactly the one that you will come across in your book. In your book, it's a very simpler diagram there. But better prepare yourself for other different diagrams that may be in your question paper. In your question paper, not necessarily the same diagram as the textbook will be there. We now talk about human digestive system. We now talk about the human digestive system. Now, human digestive system, as I start with the process of digestion, as we are talking about the concept of digestion, let us first of all get introduced with certain words. What is the meaning of digestion? What does digestion require? Digestion obviously requires some chemical components, some chemical secretions known as enzymes. Now, how will we define the word digestion? What is digestion? The process of
Intake of food,
Fats, carbohydrates.
no, ये digestion नहीं है.
that's nutrition.
What intake of food is just ingestion. Intake of protein, carbohydrate. Remember, intake. The moment you are talking about intake of carbohydrate, protein, fats, that absolutely is just ingestion. What is ingestion? Breaking down of complex components of food into simpler absorbable forms. Now, why do I use this word absorbable? The process of digestion is complete only when the food that we eat is broken down into molecules that can straight away go to the blood. The blood can absorb. Our body should have systems to break down that piece of bread, to break down that roti or the paratha, to break down the vegetable, to break down etc. that we are eating all throughout the day. Our system should have all those chemical substances, enzymes, to break down the food items that we are eating to certain molecules which can straight away enter into the bloodstream. Absorption. So now, what is the definition of digestion then? What will you write? The process of breakdown of complex food substances into simpler forms, which can be absorbed by the body cells, which can be absorbed by the blood and the body cells. So when we are talking about digestion, then what are enzymes? What are enzymes then?
The biocatalysts.
The biocatalysts or the chemical substances which help in the breakdown of complex substances to simpler forms. Let us write down these two definitions and then we move ahead. When we are talking about what is digestion, that's always a part of certain questions. Define digestion. What is digestion? What is digestion? The breakdown of complex food substances into simpler forms. The breakdown of complex food substances into simpler forms that can be absorbed directly by the blood. That can be absorbed directly by the blood and body cells. Complex food into simpler forms that can be directly absorbed. That can be directly absorbed by that can be directly absorbed by the blood and the body cells. Blood से body cells तक पहुंचना is the last step. It should reach our body cells. Absorbed by the blood and the body cells. Enzymes. Special chemical substances. Enzymes. What are enzymes? Special chemical substances. Special chemical substances produced by body cells. Produced by body cells. Likho. Enzymes. Special chemical substances produced by body cells that help in
Special term.
substances produced by body cells that help in the breakdown of complex food substances into simpler forms, full stop. They are also known as biocatalysts. They are also known as biocatalysts. And now that I talk about the enzymes, what is the chemical composition of enzymes? To always remember, the enzymes are mostly proteins. All the enzymes that we know in our body produce are all proteins. Now, we have to start with the concept of digestive system. Now, to talk about the digestive system in human, the digestive system is assemblage of various different type of organs, I would say. And this digestive system that I want to show you here also, this digestive system, if you see, this is the digestive system that I am talking about with variety of organs. But this set of organs can be divided into two parts. Which are the two parts I am talking about? Number one, the first is the alimentary canal. The first set of organs I can name the alimentary canal. Now, what is alimentary canal and why do we name it as a canal here? Because here we are talking about a continuous tube-like structure, right start from the mouth till the anus, and it involves certain major parts. Which are the major parts? The mouth is there, the esophagus, also known as the food pipe, followed by the muscular sac-like structure, the stomach. Then the extensively coiled narrow tube-like structure, small intestine, followed by the broad structure tube-like, known as the large intestine. Then in this entire tubular structure, continuous tubular structure, the food is passing through. So when I talk about the alimentary canal, what is special about the alimentary canal? What are some of the parts that we name? These are the 5 important parts I named. And what is happening here? It is the site where the process of digestion happens. The alimentary canal is majorly necessary for the passage of the food from one region to another, bring about the process of digestion. So which are the parts to mention? If it is the alimentary canal, which are the parts to mention? We talk about the mouth, also known as the mouth cavity. We talk about the esophagus, also known as the food pipe. Then we talk about the stomach, a muscular bag I just showed you there. And then we talk about the small intestine. We talk about the small intestine, and then we talk about the large intestine. We get acquainted with the names of the small and the large intestine parts also. When we talk about the small intestine has got 3 more parts. What are those 3 more parts? One is the duodenum. Second is known as the jejunum. These are not Latin Greek words, English only. Jejunum, this is. Third, we are talking about the ileum. Now, the ileum is very important and the duodenum very important when we talk about the process of digestion. Large intestine, similarly, let me mention, I talk about the cecum. Next is the colon and the rectum. Colon, the most important part, and the extensively long region also, the most extensive part of the small intestine. See there. Now, if you talk about this, when I talk about this particular region of the small and the large here, the small and the large intestine. So if I talk about the small and the large intestine there, so this is the stomach. Now from the stomach, I talk about this first part as the duodenum. What are the parts of the small intestine? A part of the alimentary canal we are talking about. Just after the stomach, this particular broad region, duodenum. Many important reactions to take place here. After that, the middle region is known as the jejunum. And after that, when we are talking about this region which just terminates with the large intestine, and this particular region is the most important region of the small intestine. What is the last region of the small intestine? Known as ileum, and ileum is very significant in the process of digestion also and absorption also. We talk about the large intestine. What are the parts? The first part is the cecum, and the colon is the extensive part. I already told you. The cecum, the colon, and the rectum there. These are alimentary canal I am talking about. So what are the two features about the alimentary canal I just now told about? I have been discussing about alimentary canal, continuous tube-like structure through which the food passes. Second, it is the alimentary canal where the process of digestion takes place. What is the other part? The other part is, for the digestive system to understand, the other part is the digestive glands. If you look into that figure there that I'm showing, the image that I'm showing there are parts known as salivary glands. There are parts known as salivary glands. There are parts known as liver and the pancreas. So talking about the salivary glands are near the mouth region. The salivary glands are always near the mouth region. So if you see here, the salivary glands are always near the mouth region. So where are those salivary glands present? Salivary glands, three salivary glands. One is known as the parotid. The second is known as the submandibular. And the third is known as the sublingual. What about their locations? Salivary glands, three salivary glands, parotid gland. Are you able to understand the spellings? If you have a doubt, tell me. The three salivary glands, where are they? The first gland, parotid. What is its location? The first gland, parotid, is almost here at the ends of the, just beside the ear region, at the ends of the jaw, where the upper and the lower jaw meet, exactly here. The parotid. What about the submandibular? The submandibular glands, another set of salivary glands that we understand. The submandibular glands are also very close to the jaw region. The sublingual below the tongue. The sublingual is below the tongue. So here we are talking about one set of glands very close to the ear, another one very close to the jaw, and then the third below the tongue. But what are they doing? The salivary glands, if I'm talking about, does the food enter? In this salivary glands, does the food enter? No, the food never enters. Does the process of digestion happen there? No, the process of digestion never happens there. But these are known as salivary glands. Do they have a prime role in the process of digestion? Definitely, because they are constantly releasing enzymes. You know now what are enzymes? Chemical substances released by specialized group of cells. So if the salivary gland does not take the food in, does not allow digestion, how is it an important part of the digestive system? Because it is constantly releasing certain specific chemical substances. Talk about the liver. Does the food at all enter the liver? No, because the liver is outside, it is not in the continuous passage. The liver is on the outer side of the alimentary canal. Where? On the right side. The liver is on the right side and just adjacent to the stomach. The largest gland of the body, but this liver, again, the food never passes inside, but it produces a large number of not enzymes, but variety of chemical substances. Always remember, liver does not produce any enzyme. But liver produces variety of other different type of chemical substances which help in digestion. Pancreas. Pancreas, one of the most important region in the entire process of digestion to talk about. Pancreas, what is the location? Just at the back of the stomach. Just at the back of the stomach, roughly between the stomach and the large intestine at the back surface of the stomach, it is attached like a leaf-like structure. Now, this pancreas that we are talking about produces a whole lot of enzymes, variety of salts and a whole lot of enzymes. So, this pancreas brings about many steps of digestion. So, first of all, we try understanding what is the digestive system in the human made up of. The digestive system made up of two parts. What are the two parts? Alimentary canal, digestive glands. What is the difference? I told you alimentary canal and digestive glands. Bolo. Are bolo? Alimentary canal, digestive. Whatever you know, speak up. See that whatever I'm speaking, teachers are speaking in the class, you have to get it very nicely.
Alimentary canal helps in digestion. And
what I told you just now, digestive system made up of two parts. One is the alimentary canal and other is the digestive glands. What are the two differences I told you? If it is the alimentary canal, can you tell me? Can you tell me? Yes. What is your name?
Parim.
Parim. Bolo.
Digestive glands are glands which produce enzymes.
Variety of enzymes or chemical substances that
help in digestion.
Super. And alimentary
canals are different organs which help in digestion.
And record point. The food continuously passes through the alimentary canal and brings about the process of digestion. So, is the digestion happening inside the liver? No. But is the digestion happening inside the stomach? Yes. Is the digestion happening inside the pancreas? No. But the digestion is very much happening inside the small intestine. So, understand this way that we are talking about the parts where the process of digestion happens and parts which very much help in the process of digestion. So now we start with the alimentary canal, parts of the alimentary canal and certain features to understand. So we are going to first start with the alimentary canal. What are certain parts? The first part of the alimentary canal, yes.
Mouth.
So the first part of the alimentary canal is mouth. What are the parts in the mouth? What would be the function of the mouth? What are the parts in the mouth? The first is we talk about is the mouth has the teeth and the tongue. So I'll start with the teeth. So what are the basic characteristics of the teeth? Now we are not talking about the detailed structure of the teeth. The detailed structure of the teeth you don't have in your syllabus, but certain few terms to understand. When we are talking about the features of the teeth, what are the features of the teeth you are supposed to understand? The teeth in human are heterodont. इसने बोला ये? नहीं, इसने नहीं बोला. That side. The teeth in human are heterodont. What does that mean? We have got 4 different types of teeth. We have got 4 different types of teeth, and which are those teeth types? Incisors, canines, premolars and molars. At least one function also to remember. When I talk about the premolars and the molars, what are they meant for? Grinding, crushing. No, that is the function of the premolars and the molars. The function is crushing, grinding. These are just general concepts to understand. Crushing, grinding. What about the canines? Tearing. What about the incisors? Cutting and biting. So these are basic terms to understand. The teeth structures in human are heterodont. What do you mean by that? Teeth in human are heterodont. Heterodont means don't from the term dentine, teeth. Hetero, different. You've already come across heterotrophic. So when we are talking about heterodont means human teeth are of different types, are different. What are the 4 different types? Incisors, canines, premolars, molars, and at least basic one function you are supposed to remember. What is the next concept? The next concept is human teeth is diphyodont. And what is the meaning of this? Human teeth, all throughout our life, there are 2 sets of teeth that we understand. And what is that? We talk about a temporary or milk dentition. We talk about temporary or milk dentition. And we talk about permanent dentition. So 2 sets of teeth all throughout our life. And this is what we are talking about. The milk dentition or the temporary dentition. And the permanent, it's not called adult dentition, nahi bolte usko, permanent dentition. So on an average, if I talk about, say suppose milk tooth, this is just for your understanding, this question never comes in your exam, it is not there in your syllabus. When we are talking about the milk dentition, the number is generally you are not asked. The number when we are talking, what is the number? Infants generally have 20. And how many teeth you all have now?
No, currently we have
8. 32 अभी होना बाकी है, अभी भी बच्चे हो. हाँ, 32 है तुम्हारा?
26.
नहीं. 36?
26.
26 दो कम क्यों है?
माँ मेरे 24 है.
अभी भी on the lower side हो, अभी भी
24.
24 है. अच्छी तरह से काउंट करो. Should be somewhere around 26 to 28, definitely 26 to 28 now for you all. You all have got adolescent dentition now. You all are in between, na idhar ka na idhar ka. So you all are adolescent now. So you all are supposed to have 26 to 28. After, now that you are already now something around 21, 22, you will be after 19. Say suppose after 19, 20, 22. You will be with this set of dentition, adult dentition. How many teeth now? 32. Every jaw supposed to have 60. So that is just roughly about the number to know, not for the exam. Mouth, what is the other part to understand? The mouth would be having the other part, the second part of the mouth is the tongue. And certain features to understand, the tongue has got the taste buds. The tongue has got the taste buds. This is one specific structural feature. The tongue is muscular. It is a muscular structure. The tongue is muscular. It has got the taste buds. It can help in the perception of different type of chemical substances. But talking about the function, what can be the function of the tongue? 1 or 2 functions always to remember. It helps in the process of swallowing of the food. It helps in the process of swallowing of the food. What else? Talking about the digestive function, it places the food between the sets of teeth. It places the food, the tongue always helps in placing the food between the sets of teeth. Between the sets of teeth. The tongue also helps us in speaking. Yes or no?
Yes.
But are we supposed to write this in the exam as a function? No, because it is not a digestive function. Something related to digestion, nutrition only you are supposed to write. What are the functions of the tongue? The functions of the tongue, yes, it pushes the food at the back towards the food pipe and helps us in swallowing. Without the tongue, not possible. We cannot swallow the food. And now that we are constantly chewing the food, grinding the food, if the tongue is not there, is it possible placing the food between the sets of teeth? Not possible. So it helps in the process of grinding, crushing the food. The next part of the alimentary canal that we are talking about is the esophagus. The esophagus. What are the features? The second part that I am talking about in the alimentary canal to understand would be the esophagus. What are the features? The esophagus is a muscular tube-like structure. The esophagus is a muscular tube-like structure and it is made up of smooth muscles. Made up of smooth muscles. Now, since it is made up of smooth muscles, it shows a property. Now, smooth muscles you have studied last year. Can you tell me one property of the smooth muscles? Functional property. Involuntary. What is the meaning? We cannot allow the contraction according to our wish. So now when we are talking about this, how do we understand that we cannot control such type of muscles according to our wish or will? Now that you have swallowed down the food, can you allow the movement of the food from here to the stomach fast? No. Or slow? No. We cannot. As according it will move on. And now that the food is inside the stomach, can we allow the process of digestion happening? I want to eat something more. Fatapat finish karo, digest karo, jao intestine mein. Aise ho sakta hai? No, the process of digestion we cannot regulate. Any part of the body which is made up of smooth muscles are involuntary. The process of contraction we cannot regulate. So I'm going to talk about one word here, but let us first of all understand the features. Esophagus, it is made up of smooth muscles and it is a tube-like structure. Now talk about it is a tube-like structure. It is a tube-like structure and this tube-like structure connects which parts?
Connects the mouth cavity
with the stomach. Connects the mouth cavity to the stomach. Connects the mouth cavity to the stomach. But then when we are talking about connecting the mouth cavity to the stomach, certain features we understand here is that this is the esophagus and then we have got the stomach here. This is the esophagus and we have got the stomach here. Now, exactly as I talk about that, this is the stomach and the mass of food is rolling down. The mass of food is rolling down. As this mass of food is rolling down, inside the mouth, we were chewing the food. The food was getting mixed with the saliva. The food was getting mixed with the saliva and mass of food got formed. This mass of food is known as the bolus. This is the bolus that we have swallowed it down and it passes through the esophagus. But as it passes through the esophagus, how will the walls of the esophagus behave? The walls of the esophagus will constantly contract and relax, constantly contract and relax. It will relax and contract, relax and contract. So as it is relaxing and then contracting and then relaxing and then contracting. So constantly there is a contraction and relaxation. Contraction and relaxation. That is what is allowing the food move down. That is what is allowing the food move down. Which process are we talking about? This process is known as peristalsis. What is peristalsis? The continuous contraction and relaxation of the walls of the entire alimentary canal. Now, right now, I am talking about only the esophagus. So, what is happening? Here, there will be a contraction, then relaxation, then contraction, then relaxation, then contraction. That is how the food is moving. Contraction, relaxation, contraction, relaxation. So the entire wall of the esophagus, does it remain as it is when the food is passing? No, the food is actually pushing and expanding and making its way. And that is how it goes. So as for the need of the body, this entire alimentary canal is expanding, contracting. Then what is the definition? A very important definition you are asked in the exam. Write down there. Peristalsis. What is the definition of peristalsis? Peristalsis, write down this word. The rhythmic. You understand the meaning of rhythmic?
Yes.
In a particular pattern. Correct. The rhythmic contraction and relaxation. The rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the walls of the alimentary canal, walls of the bolus.
Bolus is the football.
आया समझ में what I'm telling you? What is peristalsis? ये जो food pipe है, it is constantly relaxing, contracting, relaxing, contracting, relaxing, contracting. That is how the food goes down. But it is not only here. No, the food has to go from here to here also. The food has to go down all the entire 7-meter long intestine. So the food has to go down all these. So when we are talking about that, the food is constantly moving through these tubes, the contraction, relaxation, that is what is called peristalsis. Complete the definition. The rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the walls of the alimentary canal is known as peristalsis. At the same time, there is something known as certain valves here, some membranous flaps as if. There is some membranous flaps as if here. Sphincter muscles. So now there are some muscular flaps here, Now these muscular flaps, these also will show the process of contraction and relaxation. So now that the bolus is rolling down, these muscles will contract and make a pathway so that the bolus can come down, so that the bolus can roll down and enter. But once the bolus has entered already, now that the bolus has entered already here, what will happen? The consistency also changes. Now that the bolus has entered already, what will happen? These sphincter muscles are closed. This sphincter muscles is under nervous control. Whenever the food is running down, the hypothalamus sends messages and then the relaxation, the contraction takes place. Food has run down, they will relax and close again. Just like the lip doors.
This is also involuntary.
The contraction is involuntary under the nervous control. Involuntary. So now, what are these? These are also known as the cardiac sphincter. What is the name of these muscles or these valves or this set of muscles here? Remember, these are known as you have to remember names of two sphincters. One is known as the cardiac sphincter. Where is the cardiac sphincter present? Esophagus and stomach. Cardiac, because whenever we have got this type of a property, the entire heart works like this. The entire heart has got such type of a mechanism for the movement of the blood. Every time opening valves, the opening chambers are opening and closing, opening and closing, opening. So the property of these type of valves, one is cardiac and the later is pyloric, also known as pylorus. At the same time, believing the property, structural property of the heart also similar. And since it is at the upper end, below end, posterior side, pylorus, pyloric end. So first of all, I'm talking about the esophagus. What is the job of the esophagus? Function now. Let us write. What is the function of esophagus? Only one function. Only one function. Passage of the food. Write down the function of esophagus. What you are writing? Passage of food. From where to where? Mouth cavity to stomach. Does it help in the process of digestion at all? No. Esophagus does not help in the process of digestion at all. Esophagus does not have any steps of breakdown of the food. Now, when we are talking about the next part, that is the stomach, we talk about a very important part, and that is the stomach. The stomach that we understand is a muscular bag-like structure. The stomach is a muscular bag-like structure. Does this stomach show peristalsis? Yes. The stomach shows peristalsis. Now, quite similar. Say suppose now again I talk about the stomach here and try to understand what would be the type of cells and the secretions here. The stomach has certain category of cells, certain different types of cells. Now, look at the section of the stomach. The stomach has got 5 different layers of cells and a variety of cells. And some of these cells and the functional activity or the functional ability of the cells are all different. So we are now talking about the bolus coming down here. These different type of cells, each of these cells are releasing different type of substances. Say suppose I talk about the first type of cell releasing the hydrochloric acid. The second type of cell releasing now the mucus. And the third type of cell we come across, the third type of cell releasing an enzyme. The third type of cell releasing an enzyme, and this enzyme is known as pepsin, I write, but it is actually released in the inactive form. What is this entire secretion collectively known as? This entire secretion collectively is known as the gastric juice. What is gastric juice? What is its composition? What is gastric juice? Where is it released? Gastric juice is released by the inner wall of the stomach. I just now told that the inner wall of the stomach has got variety of cells. Every different type of cell producing certain different type of secretion. So now if I have to talk about the gastric juice and try finding out what would be the function of each of these components, the first one that I understand is the enzyme. Say suppose now the enzyme, what is the form of the enzyme that the gastric juice contains? The enzyme that the gastric juice contains is known as pepsinogen. Inactive form of the enzyme always. The stomach wall actually does not produce pepsin. Here I am writing pepsin because that's a prominent enzyme. But the stomach wall prepares the enzyme in the inactive form. What is this inactive form? Known as pepsinogen. But this pepsinogen, when it comes in contact with the hydrochloric acid, now it becomes the active form, and this active form is known as pepsin. So name the enzyme present in the gastric juice. Pepsin. Pepsin. Name the enzyme present in the gastric juice. Pepsin to write. What is pepsinogen then? It is the inactive form of the enzyme which the cells actually produce and then immediately gets converted to the active form. Now I talk about the second. The second property is the hydrochloric acid. Okay, now if I have to talk about the function, what is the function of the pepsin? Function of the pepsin is to act on proteins. What will be the function of the pepsin? What type of enzyme it is? It is a protein digesting enzyme. Pepsin is a protein digesting enzyme. It will act on proteins. And what is the second property? Just give me 2 minutes. We will complete with this. Now we talk about the second is the hydrochloric acid. Now this hydrochloric acid has got 2 major functions to perform inside the stomach. It would maintain the acidic medium. Hydrochloric acid would always maintain the acidic medium, and if it is not maintaining the acidic medium, the protein digestion will never take place. So maintaining the acidic medium in the stomach is very, very necessary. And next is what activates pepsinogen to pepsin. Activates pepsinogen to pepsin. That's the second role. And what is the third role? The third role is kills bacteria or microbes, if at all, in the food. Now, obviously, quite a number of times, or I should say every time. Every time the food that we are eating, even in our own homes, is it bacteria or microbe free? No, it is not. But every time we are not falling sick only because of the action of the hydrochloric acid. And the last property, the last component is mucus. Now, if I talk about this mucus, the mucus generally forms a layer. It generally forms a layer all over. Mucus is a slimy layer, you understand already. This slimy layer is actually laid over the cells. So what can be the job? The job is protects the cells of the stomach from the action of hydrochloric acid. From the action of hydrochloric acid, meaning what? Meaning that if this layer of mucus was not there, then what would have happened? We always have acid in our stomach. Hydrochloric acid is every time produced. But food is every time not there in our stomach. Now that you have eaten your lunch, by now 2 hours, 2.5 hours over, the process of digestion is almost finished and the partially digested food is almost running down to your small intestine. The stomach is empty. But only because the mucus is there, this hydrochloric acid will not be able to destroy the cells because of the layer of the mucus. So this is what you are supposed to remember. What is the function of mucus? The function of mucus is protect the stomach layer from getting digested, from getting eroded. Action of hydrochloric acid.
When acidity takes place, so the mucus layer being affected.
When acidity takes place, diagram for stomata. Stomata. One minute. Now this acidity jab hota hai, now what's happening? The food is not there and this cardiac muscles are not closing, opening every time. Because food hai hi nahi, then these acidic burps start happening because so much of acid in the stomach and the acid starts coming upwards. Improper nervous impulse. Improper nervous impulse. The diagram, all of you just show me if you have completed. All of you have completed, I suppose.
Yes.
Stomata, you'll have to redraw and practice. Practice.
You said you will be checking my book next.
The previous one. Good. Boys, search it. बहुत सिंपल लग रहा है ऐसे कंपास से नहीं करना है फ्री हैंड करो कंपास से क्या बचा
ऊपर वाला नीचे वाला फ्री हैंड
डायग्राम डार्क होना चाहिए नीट होना चाहिए इट्स वेरी गुड बट व्हाई सो लाइट थोड़ा डार्क इट्स गुड वेरी गुड क्या दिख रहा है हाँ those of you have shown me your work you can go हाँ nice. Okay, don't be so casual in your work. Bit nice and neat. Everyone pen pass. All of you factor cover. एक pen दे दो फटाफट.
रुकना भाई पेशेंट होने की चीज नहीं
क्या हो गया?
पुश कर रहा है
Dark. Guard cells, this layer should be dark. The outer layers can be thin, but the guard cells has to be dark. Very good. Thank you. Whose book is this? Just see if she's out. Pack her bag also.
back.